noticing some of those points too that can pull us out of going a bit deeper. You know, I mean, sometimes we can be, in meditation, and we'll get to that point where we're really about to drop in, and there's a fear that sometimes arises. There's something that comes up that sort of pulls us back. That it's so getting to that place where we could begin to notice that moment and softening in even to that, and trusting that sometimes deep meditations can even get like a little bit scary when it's like you're really just about to drop into it, and that little bit of apprehension arises that prevents us from connecting with that spot. And that's where that trust needs to happen, that we can just get lost and find that place. Would anyone else like to share anything?
It was really tricky. When I dropped in, I saw like purple and blue, and then I saw purple. And then I started thinking about my friend. She just went out. She's pregnant, so I'm really excited about that. And then like there's fire. I've never felt it before. There's fire in my belly. So that was amazing to experience that.
So good. And also, so that was I think maybe we meditated total with the guidance for 20 minutes, 10 in silence. A lot can happen in 10 minutes. It doesn't, it's not a contest. It's not, there's no benefit of forcing yourself to do more than is necessary. It could be done in 2 breaths, mantra, any of these practices, there's, in some level, it's, you have to, you do 100,000 mantras and then this happens. Can we consider that you could say the mantra once with such a genuine connection that it bursts your heart open? Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. So frequency trumps duration. Genuinity trumps the whatever it is, contest with ourselves. I'm by no means saying we don't push ourselves. There's something, rewarding or empowering with that too. And that also is a part of the discipline. It's like, are you saying to yourself, okay, I'm gonna sit for 20 minutes, and doing 20 minutes, or if you're saying, well, I'm just going to sit for as long as I can, that's okay too. But finding that discipline within ourselves, where we're setting realistic goals, we're setting goals or approaching it in a way, even the practice in a way that it becomes workable, it becomes doable. We don't want to go down a road where we just keep meeting frustration or meeting a failure, a feeling of defeat. We want to connect in a way that's gentle, it's tender with ourselves. It could be fun too. This stuff doesn't have to be so serious. We can lighten up and be a part of it from a way that's playful too. It's like, oh, meditating. No, it could be. I guess on some level it can be the best representation of who you are.
I appreciate that meditation also really changed my perspective of time. Because 20 minutes one day can be so different the other day. And I think that really shifts because I think we just get so caught up in time. I only have 24 hours in a day to do all. And you're like, but when you sit in meditation, you literally can feel like it's been 20 hours and it's been 20 minutes. And I think that's a big eye-opener. That's been a good journey for me because we get so caught in the stories. So 5 minutes is 5 minutes can be forever.
And I'm really glad that you noticed that, because that's, takes us back to the 5 inquiries, and connecting with our innate wholeness, locating in the body where our sense of being is felt most strongly, considering time. We've constructed time, and we live so, we live by it in such a way, but when we're connecting with our wholeness, what time is it? Like I'm finding bliss moment to moment. It's just whatever is in front of me is God's majesty. To what time matters. We could just be so present that we go beyond time. Being able to come, and is there a need or lack of anything, that we could come into a place where nothing's lacking. There's nothing we need. We're just fully present, moment to moment. And then, of course, recognizing where we feel connected, locating where we feel whole. So connecting with that sense of time and considering it, that's cool. That's cool. It's connecting with wholeness. It's connecting with wholeness. Anyone have any questions about what we've spoke about so far? Or?
I have a question. It's just kind of off topic.
Of course.
After meditating and because I've noticed it's like my skin is alive after I meditate. So what do you do after you meditate? Do you just kind of chill out, or just maybe it's just energy?
I mean, what do I personally do after I meditate? Or, I would guess the main thing that I do try to be mindful of is that I'm carrying that feeling into what's next. That I'm trying to, okay, wow, yeah, I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling a quality of well-being. Can I amplify that? Can I absorb that as I get up and maintain that softness? Being mindful to maintain the softness, maintain the stillness as I get up and go do what's ever next. So yeah, and that's what we're really, whatever your method, I'm not saying that's the way you have to do it, but also on some level, the goal and the point of all of this is to carry the qualities you experience in meditation into life, into post-meditation. That's the transition we talked about earlier, that I'm not coming to meditate to escape what's happening in the world. I'm meditating so I can bring that feeling to whatever arises. So I can meet it from a place that's grounded, centered, compassionate, embodied. This is what we did as basic seated meditation, but it's also embodied mindfulness. We're coming into the body and noticing sensations. Some of the other practices, we start to work with those sensations, feeding your demons, any of the somatic practices. It's a big part of working with grief and trauma is dropping the narrative, bringing a difficult experience to the surface, whatever it is you're working with, locating where you feel that most strongly in the body, being with it, softening about it a little bit, and beginning to digest it. What that's doing is allowing our body to process. Is anybody familiar with some of the somatic work, your body keeps the score, the Gabor Mate, the way we hold trauma? And one of the, I won't get too into it. That could be 3 hours on its own. But one of the leading points of starting to develop these practices came from noticing the way animals experience trauma and shake off. That when an animal's attacked and they go into this freeze, and then when it's safe again, they come out of it and almost go into this sort of energetic convulsion in a way that their body's digesting and processing out the energy of the experience that they were in. And then they go back to meet life. We don't do that. You know, we have a difficult experience and we push it away. You know, we push it away and then it comes out, you know, through physical ailments, through emotional difficulties, through mental obstacles. You know, these traumas that we don't process and don't digest come to the surface in any number of ways. So on some level, you know, coming into the body, being with the sensations of that experience, healing is happening. It's giving us an opportunity to digest it. It doesn't mean that experience goes away, but it becomes workable. It becomes something that we're not so lost in. You know, it's still a part of our story, but it's not bringing us down. You know, it's not bringing us down. Let's see. Why don't? Does anyone need a break, or you know, should we take a? You know, everyone's good. Maybe after we do the 9 purification breaths, then we'll take a break and then we'll do some deeper meditation. Again, I did. This is just kind of a fun. I mean, well, yeah, it's all fun, but this is sort of a fun practice for, you know, for just cleansing out stale energy. I want you guys to have some easy takeaways, and one being the 2-breath meditation. You know, I still do that all the time. It's just recognize you're in the world. You're recognizing when you get lost in the narrative, when you get lost in the story. Label it. Thinking, 2-breath meditation, just to come back. Okay, now I'm back to this moment from a place that's a little more grounded, a little bit more centered. I'm ready for next. So that's the practice. So 9 purification breaths is exactly that. It's cleansing stale prana from the body. And remembering too that prana is not solely the breath. There's 5 pranas of the body, and there's one that relates to the breath. It's getting out. You know, when we're having stale energy in there, there's a cloudy. We're clouding. You know, the mind is cloudy. There's an irritability, perhaps an agitation, a spaciness, a disconnection. You know, and I like the 9 purifications breath because it's a quick movement-based process that just helps us clear that out. There's visualization, there's movement, there's breathing. And we've done this, well, I'll talk about how we've done it before. And again, I did the outline, sort of my weird little notes for all this. I made copies for everybody, and this is on there, so don't feel that you have to write everything down. But I'll just kind of, sort of demonstrate a little bit of it. And we are using, placing thumbs at the base of the ring finger. And we're breathing up, and we'll do it together after. I'll just give you kind of like a highlight. We're breathing up into the belly, and exhaling, bringing the back of the hands to the upper thigh here. So as we take the breath in, we begin with the left. We bring the finger. Exhale. We inhale the second. Exhale. Second round, inhaling. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhale. One last round. Inhaling. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhale. And then the last breath is a deep breath in. And then 3 exhales happening simultaneously. And you don't need to remember this all now, but as we're breathing in, if visualization is your thing, not required, we're breathing in rainbow energy. You know, we're breathing in all the energetic qualities of the universe and the coloration of the rainbow. As we exhale, we first visualize that as a dark, murky red. And this represents anger, hatred, and desire, people who are giving you problems. You know, any of those places we're caught. And then on the other one, we're starting off in a murky white. So it's red and white. With each of the 3 breaths, it gets clearer. So first we see this dark, murky red. And then it's a little more of a clearer red. And then it's crystalline ruby. Very ruby power. Oh, beautiful. And same with murky white to a crystal clear. And then the last breath is the same with a blue. Again, not necessary to remember all the colors right now. That final, that 3-part exhalation is where we're releasing ignorance, bewilderment, and confusion. So we're letting go of anger, hatred, desire, and then we're exhaling ignorance, confusion. It's a cleansing. It's an energetic cleansing that could be done before meditation. It could be done before bed. It could just be like, wow, I got 5 minutes and I'm feeling weird. It's just a nice reset. So why don't we practice it together, and I'll guide you a little bit, but also not so much that it's taking away from the breath. So the thumbs come to a ring finger, and we take a nice breath up. Back of the hands to the thighs. Beginning with the left hand, breathing in. Exhaling a dark, murky red. Hand comes down, breathing in, bringing up the right arm. Exhaling a dark, murky white. Relaxing, breathing in again, the left comes to the nose. Exhaling, that red gets a bit clearer. Breathing into the belly, the right arm comes up. Exhaling, that white gets a bit clearer. Last round, bringing the left up, breathing in. Exhaling, a red, ruby clear. Inhaling rainbow light, bringing up the right hand. Exhaling a crystal white clarity. Hands come to the thighs, a deep breath into the belly. Visualizing a blue getting clearer, exhaling 3 parts. Ignorance, bewilderment, confusion. And releasing the thumbs, resting the hands on the knees. Resting in this clear clarity, resetting the energy, the prana in the body. Resting in that space. Of course, that practice gets more fluid and easier as you do it. I like it. I wanted to share it because I like it. I think it's powerful. I think when we're focusing on the breath, on the visualization, on the somatic element, that where else can our mind be? Where else can our mind be? There's something to be said for that, even in mantra, that like some really transformative experiences that my mind is on the mantra, it's on the breath, it's on the image of the deity. Where else can it be? It's like a trifecta, like an old tantric Shaivism. That's mantra. The breath, the word, the name, the image. All of those 3 combined can be so transformative. So where else can the mind be? Where else can it be? We're so focused. Now some of you have done this in a different form. Locate where you're, let's actually, we'll do it together. Or just come again, just seated into just the seated meditation position. Maintain that feeling already of being grounded, being centered. And now locate in the body a place you're feeling physical tension or discomfort. As you breathe in, send the breath to that place, allowing the breath to hook this tension as you release it with the out-breath. Now locate in the body any place you're feeling emotional tension or resistance. Breathing in, sending the breath to this place, allowing the breath to hook this tension as you release it with the out-breath. Now locating mental tension or fatigue. Locating mental tension in the body. Breathing in, sending the breath to this space. Allowing the breath to hook this tension as you release it with the out-breath. And now generating a heartfelt motivation to do this practice here today for the benefit of yourself and all living beings. And as you're ready, opening the gaze, rejoining the space. So that's a variation of the 9 purification breaths. We've used that in a bunch of classes. That's a really nice way in the beginning, kind of early on, motivation, invocation. Okay, what do we want to drop in with? Sometimes we're doing that scan. We're just kind of releasing tension from the body, starting about the forehead, the cheeks, kind of working our way down. Sometimes I'll use the 9 purification breaths, but in that form, and just kind of guessing that there's about 3 breaths, in the dialogue. But the idea is we're locating those 3 elements, physical resistance, emotional tension, mental tension, and fatigue. And we're letting that energy out. We're letting it out, and then of course generating heartfelt motivation. So it could be done, the first version we did, that is more of a monastic approach, in traditional meditations, or whether you're doing like Dakini practice, or 5 Buddhas, or any of the medicine wheel practices. Beginning with that is an important element, but it doesn't have to be, so formal. It could just be breathing into those spots. It could just be letting go and resetting your energy in that way. A couple of the other practices that, and again, I do have this. You don't need to write these down, but I did want to share a few other sort of practices that you can explore more, and how they work. Yesterday's paper, there's one called the Tantric 3-Step. that's pretty powerful. You know, again, we're locating the experience in the body. We're dropping the narrative. We're losing the story. We're opening our heart to experience. We're noticing what the body feels. A lot of these practices do have to do with locating sensation in the body and working with it from a physical approach. You know, losing the narrative, losing the story. Compassionate abiding is one that I really like, especially in working with pain, working with physical pain and tension. And it's extremely simple, is that we're locating the suffering in the body, we're breathing in the quality of clarity, sending it to that space, and we're exhaling spaciousness. You know, it sounds, so many of these practices do look so simple on paper, you know, but we do them regularly and trust them that something happens. You know, it's like, oh, what do you mean? Pain management, breathing, clarity, exhale, spacious. Like, yeah, no, like that is it. That's what you do. You know, you're dealing with physical pain. Breathe in the quality. Send it to that space. What's happening is your awareness is coming fully to this place that you're typically pushing away. You're typically avoiding. You're being willing to be with that sensation, and then you're allowing yourself to soften about it. You're allowing yourself to be with it a bit differently. It doesn't mean the pain goes away, but it now becomes workable. We bring a meditative viewpoint to our experience. You'll find that same in most of softening about pain, letting pain float, letting go of pain. A lot of the practice is locating sensations in the body, you know, and visualizing that. Okay, let it into the heart. Soften about it. Soften about it. Let it in a bit deeper. Let it in a bit more. And this is all encouraging us to be with our experience as it is. You know, pain is mandatory. Suffering is optional. Okay, you know, so if I know I'm dealing with knee pain and it's not going to go away, maybe it's time to make friends with it. Maybe it's time to see if there's an opportunity to find a place where it's no longer taking us away from life. And I think that's another level, you know, is that difficult emotions, difficult experience, you know, all of these things come to the surface and they take us away from being present. You know, oh, I couldn't, you know, yeah, I met with my friend and I couldn't even focus on the conversation because I was so caught up about that shit that happened yesterday. Oh man, you know, we were caught, the places were caught. You know, I would want to read the book, but my shoulder's driving me crazy. It's taking me away from life, you know? Like, can we make friends enough with our experience as it is that we can still be present? And in doing so, you know, it becomes more manageable. You know, it becomes more workable. You know, pain's its worst when we're pushing it away. That's when it's at its peak, you know? But there's no way to really quantify all of this, but there have been, you know, some studies that, you know, that suggest that many pains and many difficulties are, yeah, they're a lot more workable than we think they are. And our mind and body, when in sync, is very powerful. We can do that work ourselves. We can do that work on our own. We can heal. We can heal. And I know it's difficult sometimes that there's never really like a cut and dry list of instructions. It says like, oh, you want to heal, here, do these 3 things and everything, you know, all set. Like, yeah, like that's difficult. But again, we find what we connect with, and remember that healing is just returning to feeling whole, returning to our basic goodness, returning to our basic wealth, and meeting experience from a place that feels grounded, compassionate. So compassionate abiding, super powerful practice. Heal. I gave you that form yesterday, taking in the good. The HEAL acronym is have a positive experience, enrich, intensify, absorb, link to a negative. And so we've done that. We won't do that today. We're going to do loving kindness and Tonglen, but so the idea is that you drop in to meditation, and this is this is a kind of a real predicament that we experience, that we've been conditioned to gravitate towards the one thing that went wrong. I've used the example before that, like, you go on an awesome vacation, it's like, oh, how was your vacation? And oh, it was perfect, but we got a flat. On Thursday, we got a flat. It's the one thing that didn't go right that we get so hung up on. If I sat down with you and tell you, 20 things about you that I think are absolutely amazing, but one thing that I think could use a little work, that maybe kind of, yeah, you're not going to be thinking about the 20 things that I think are amazing about you. You're going to be dwelling on that one thing. Why is there one thing? And, it's been proven that we can retrain our brain to begin to gravitate more towards seeing the positives, or connecting with the things that are giving us comfort, and the practice is exactly that. Is sort of coming into meditation and then bringing to mind a experience or a time in our life or something where we felt a true quality of joy, a true quality of fulfillment, and letting go of the story and noticing where we feel it most strongly in the body, noticing how our body's responding, allowing that feeling to amplify, absorbing it, letting it soak in, resting in that, then bringing to mind a difficult experience we're working with, bringing to mind something that brings us down, doing the same, dropping the narrative, locating it where we feel most strongly in the body, softening about it, maybe going back to another positive experience, jumping back and forth between this feeling of well-being and this feeling of difficulty, and then opening up our view to feel it all simultaneously as one. We're going back now to going beyond likes and dislikes, going beyond well-being and misfortune, but taking a vaster view, seeing it all as one, seeing it all as the mother, all as divine. And that practice trains us to not get so lost on the negatives, and it helps us in that stage of empowerment, that stage of wholeness, that helps us go beyond a little bit. Guru Yoga we're going to do tomorrow with mantra and chant. But I'll mention it today because it's also in the preliminaries of Lojong. So training in the preliminaries is preparing for meditation, preparing for practice. Preparing for undertaking the practice is having an understanding of the four mind turning truths. You're going to die, but you don't know when. There is suffering. There is karma. All life is precious. Preparing for meditation is that where, that we connect with something outside of ourselves, and that we're able to look outside of ourselves and ask for the strength to allow love, compassion, and bodhicitta arise in our mind, to be present in our heart. But then we invite that image into our heart, where it takes up space and it expands and radiates throughout our body. And the practice is called Guru Yoga. Again, it could be done in one breath. It could be done for 6 hours, but it goes back to that, connecting with the ideals that these images represent. Whether it's Christ or the Guru or Tara, whatever it is, that the practice is visualizing that image, and it shoots a ray of light into your heart and comes closer, steps inside, radiates around you. This is igniting the ideals we long for, and the ideals that are already in us. Already in us. We all have the capacity for virtuous behavior. It's already there. We're blocked from utilizing that all the time because of our conditioning, because of our lack of our feelings of inadequacy, feelings of discomfort, lack of confidence. These are all things that are blocking us from just acting from a place of virtue. So Guru Yoga is one of those powerful practices that helps us ignite that energy inside of us, because it's all energy. It's all energy. So I wanted to talk about that because Pawa is another visualization that's in working with others, and I utilize this practice for those that have left the body, whether it's a friend or someone on the news. This is kind of not quite Tonglen, or someone I'm working with in the conscious dying work, and it's a healing practice that you're visualizing the deity entering the person you're working with. It could be someone sick in the hospital. It could be a friend that you're having that you've fallen out with, someone that's not right in front of you. But the practice is visualizing that embodiment entering their heart. It's an energetic work. It's Reiki, on some level, which, for me, energy work is coming into my own heart, connecting with a quality of wholeness within me, and then seeing the person I'm working with as whole. Seeing the person as whole. That's, for me, that's what energy work is. It's just seeing the person you're working with as whole, and connecting energetically, whether it's through sound or touch or visualization, whatever it might be. So power practice is powerful, and I'm just highlighting these because I put them on your sheet as some sort of takeaways. Any questions or any comments or anything? That's good. Feeling grounded, centered, and compassionate. Well, why don't we take a little 5-10 minute break, and then we'll do a little short loving kindness meditation and then some Tonglen.